Off Script with Tony Cash, a space for honest dialogue, conversations that may not fit traditional formats, but are essential for real growth. We tackle the questions the church often avoids through transparent conversation, trusted experts, and biblical clarity. Off Script delivers godly answers to real-life issues without judgment, fear, or performance, because people don't live in sermons, they live in real life. This is
Off Script.
Yeah.
Off Script.
Tony Cash, and tonight I am supercharged. I am super excited. I have with me a very special guest with me tonight, but he's no guest in this place. He's a friend and a brother, and the Honorable Larry Johnson, who is running for Georgia State Senate. And he can tell you more about himself, but let me just share a little bit about him so that you can understand who this is and who this great man is. Number one, I want to say something. He has a great partner in his wife with him today. So, amen. I understand how 37 years. That's enough right there to vote for him, that she put up with him for. We just should vote for him just for her sake. I mean, 37 with this right here. But this is a man who is very accomplished, and he has so much, over 2 decades of experience in government, and from county government to Georgia Senate. We think that this is the right man for the job. And so I want to introduce to some and present to others our friend, the one that we think is going to be the next Senate, the Honorable Larry Johnson.
You got me, Pastor.
Do I have you on? Let me make sure I got you on. No, I don't. Let me get you on here. There you go.
Thank you, Pastor Cash. Thank you to the church leadership. When I walked in here, I came for the open house, not knowing what to expect, but the great one, Dr. Joyce Littell, invited me on over here. But I like the energy. I told my wife, I said, we got to come back.
Amen.
And
Thank
so
you.
we're coming back
Thank
because
you.
I see a different type of anointing over here.
Yes, thank you.
I see somebody who's going to bridge the gap.
Thank you.
And when I saw that scan me on the door, and I'm putting the office hours, you got to go, you got to scan.
You got to scan.
You can't eat no Wonder Bread and be guessing. You got to scan. So thank you. I appreciate being here.
Absolutely. Listen, we're going to get to the meat of it because this is an important time in politics in Georgia. I want to tell you something, and I'm going to I heard this about 2 days ago where there was a certain governor, and somehow land that they couldn't sell 10, 15 years ago before they were governor, all of a sudden they can sell the land. And when they sold the land, all of a sudden the people who bought the land could actually become contractors within the government. So it's like, so I sold you the land, but now you come back and you're a contractor in the government. So am I paying you a little more? Like, wow. And so what we need in government today are men and women like the Honorable Larry Johnson, who, when we look up their record, we can see they are working for the people. Well, talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, Pastor, it goes back, and I'm not going to go too far back, but I always got to start off where I was born because it sets the foundation for me, because a lot of folks forget when they reach a certain status. And I just couldn't do it. I started off from 2 teenage parents, south side of Chicago. Mother was 17, father was 15. And statistically, I'm not supposed to be talking to you.
That's right.
And so, but I wouldn't say, with my whole family, I mean, we watched the Bears on Sunday. We weren't going to no church. So church wasn't there. We had an unsaved side and a saved, sanctified side. My mother lived on the saved side with the long dresses, all that.
Right.
And so I stayed on the other side.
Right.
And but I just thank God we had people in the neighborhood who knew my sense of purpose and knew where I wanted to be. Because when the El Rukins and disciples, gangs, wanted to fight, they said, "No, Larry, you need to go over here.
Wow.
You don't need to be part of the fight."
Wow.
And I know, and the gangs now, they just take anybody. You a
Right.
gang, they take everybody. Back then, they had a little respect. And so those processes and foundation helped to really undergird where I am today. And I really appreciate that. We had one church in the neighborhood called Bread of Life Baptist Church. It was right across the street, and we were on the other side. I call the other side the tracks. So they allowed us to become part of the little league that they had. So they had the apostles, the peacemakers, all the teams had biblical names, but they called us the Cubs.
Okay.
They wanted to make sure that they knew that we were not part
Wow.
of the group.
So God's covering you even then for this moment.
Yes,
Wow.
and so I thank him for that, but that going through that experience really helped me. And then fast forward, 18 years old, I became a little league baseball coach, and I rescued a lot of the young men on the street and had them go practice and do different things, and saved a lot of them. We're still friends today. I only lost one to murder, but he got out and turned his life around. I got a couple of them now, tech gurus and all of that, but they still remember how I was there to help them get through things, and that's what propelled me today.
Wow. When I think about, I was sharing with some friends of mine that I was going to be interviewing you, and one of them said something that I thought was interesting, but it makes sense. He said, it seems like once they get in the position they're asking you to vote for them, they lose humanity. And I said, well, I'm just gonna ask him, can we count on him remembering those who actually voted for him? Because I think in today's society,
Right.
we actually need some empathetic leaders, because when you look at from the, I'm trying to be safe.
Yeah.
Y'all hear me? Y'all hear Pastor trying to be safe, but it seems like there's a lack of empathy in politics. And how will you be one that help usher that back into politics?
Well, if you know my history and my service, I served 22 years as a county commission, and I had the toughest areas. I had the areas that people had given up on.
Yeah.
Candler Road, Glenwood,
Yeah.
Wesley Chapel. And I was up for the challenge because I was one of them people that everybody gave up on. But I had people who rescued me. You know, when I went to Gage Park High School, I had a 13 on the ACT.
Wow.
Wound up taking the ACT prep course that's supposed to help you get a higher score.
Right.
I took it and got a 12.
Wow.
So the only thing I scored well on in the SAT was social studies, because I like current affairs and current. I started reading the newspaper at 8 years old.
Wow.
So I was doing all those things. But what happened was, my grandmother told us all birds got to come down to eat.
Mm.
And I didn't understand it, but she had a 6th grade education, and my grandfather had a 6th grade education. But 7 of her 8 kids stayed in the same house, and all the grandkids stayed there. We had about 25, 26 people in one house. But she had helped my uncles and them go to college. We're down to Carbondale. And so she always instilled in us, don't think because you got a degree that you're going to be better than somebody
That's right.
else. And so I kept that as my foundation on how I launched everything I get to do. I try to make sure I come from a empathy mindset already, and try to make sure I undergird that with prayer and just have the Holy Spirit to help guide me.
Is there a central theme that you would say run through your campaign that because I want to publicly say any way we can be of help? You know, I got a few text messages, and somebody said, if you can just drop $5 into my campaign, that'll help me defeat my candidate. I said, well, if $5 will do it for you, man, that's
They hoping you get 20.
right. So I think we can at least give Brother Larry $5, you know.
That's right.
And so I'm one of those people who believe in your campaign and what you're doing and will rally behind it. Is there a central theme that you would say runs through this campaign that you are leading?
It's called, I want to bring the state to you. a lot of people don't know who their state senator is or state representative. I mean, they feel like they're so far off. But if you know how I did as a county commissioner, I was always engaged from going to a Little League baseball game to sitting up there with President Biden. I never lost where I was coming from. When Michelle Obama invited me to the White House, you know, I was happy to go, but I came back home to Candler Road and said, we need a new library. We need a new senior center. We need a new housing for Candler Road, and we got that. $25 million senior housing. Our seniors were in an old funeral home on Candler Road. They converted it. I said, do you know what the irony of that?
Yes.
And if you go in there, you smelt it too. I said, I'm not going to let these seniors stay in this old place because they were. It was okay. They were complacent. But I said, no, you need to have the best. And God worked it out. I was able to build a campus, and it didn't come all at one time, but it came in stages. And that's how God works sometimes, a process.
Yes.
So I got the senior center first, then the library came, then the senior housing. So guess what? Now the seniors can walk to the library and help young people to read.
Wow.
It's intergenerational. They can go to senior center and have fun, and they got a place to live that's affordable.
Wow. I'm going to probably ask you something that most interviewers don't. Do you believe that a leader such as yourself, your personal life, affect how you lead? And if you believe that, how long have you and your wife, 34?
35.
30
Been together, been friends for 37.
37. What impact has your wife and the relationship and the family man you are had on how you lead and how you're running this campaign?
Oh man, that's a great question. Without my wife, I wouldn't be here today.
Absolutely.
She's the foundation. She's the rock
Hold
steady.
on, I forgot to tell her my Cash App.
Yeah.
you got me.
She's a little. She's a little. She'll go at you quicker than I was.
Okay.
Even though I grew up a little harder, but she's spent 3 or 4 years in the projects in Chicago.
Okay.
So sometimes it may pop up. but we've learned how through our struggles. I mean, I said we started with Similac, WIC, and food stamps.
Wow.
We got married in an apartment. We had to use the food stamps to help buy the cake.
Wow.
And then our best friend next door, helped us out and made things happen. So I said, if you follow me to Greeley, Colorado, we never went to Greeley in our life. Greeley was 1,000 miles away. I was cleaning up houses, doing housework in the neighborhood, and a professor said, you ever thought about going to grad school? Because that was the recession was in 91. That was the real recession.
Right.
The recession we in now, everybody got jobs. This
Right.
ain't no recession.
Right.
The real recession wasn't no jobs.
That's right.
Wasn't no jobs in 1991.
Yeah.
And so,
Ironically, I was coming out of the military, so I know
Yeah.
about that.
and so I was just cleaning up yards and all that. And the professor offered me an opportunity to go to grad school. This was in July. School started in August.
Wow.
No GRE. I didn't take none of that. And he found me 2 grad schools, and we could have went to one in Illinois, but I picked the one in Greeley, Colorado, and she went with me, gave up her schoolwork, all of that, and she sacrificed, and that's how we got to Atlanta, because I said, you with me, you pick the next location, and she got into law school, Loyola, DePaul, ITT, Kent State, and we got into one law school that wasn't in Illinois, that was Emory University. This was in 93. The Olympics would come. We said, let's go to Atlanta. We heard so much about it. And we came to Atlanta with her. She didn't like law, but we stayed.
Wow.
And so, and that set the foundation and trajectory. And then in 93, she led me to Christ because I wasn't saved.
Wow.
My wife was saved.
Wow.
And so she
Come
led
on,
me-
can we give that up in the studio? Come on. Thank God, because I'm sure prior to that it was a lot she was dealing with. But go ahead.
Hey. Hey. But it was that was the moment I think you can't do nothing without your helpmate.
Right.
You gotta have a centeredness around being together. I mean, we at the point now that she can finish my sentences.
Yeah.
She knows what I like, what I don't like.
My wife tells me what, but okay, it's close.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
No, I
close.
used
She
to-
tells me
yeah,
what
yeah.
I'd like
No,
to know.
it took me 10 years to get there. Because I'm an only child.
Okay.
See,
okay.
being an only child is a whole, I mean, my mother cooked,
Okay.
ironed, washed the clothes, did everything. So I was used to a certain style.
Right.
And so my wife was not like that.
Right.
And so it took me a while when I was sleeping on the couch sometime, getting mad. And then I just started saying, we got to come together. And so we came together, and it's been a man. I can take 2 or 3 of your shows and just talk about the
Amen.
trials and tribulations and things that we've been through. I'm talking about you had to get out your family first.
Yes.
Because your family could have a stronghold on you before you
Right.
get outside, because a lot of them still call you by your nickname.
That's right.
And when they call you by your nickname, they still think you got all those things, attributes in it, because you saw your daddy. They
That's
said your
right.
daddy wasn't nothing, mother wasn't nothing. So I wasn't supposed to excel. And so teaming up with Dr. T, we've an amazing team, and I'm really glad that we're friends first
Yes.
and lovers as well, and we just make things happen together.
That was why I want the public to know who this man is behind a title or a position, because my personality is I'm really not voting for the title, I'm voting for the man.
Yeah.
And if a man loves his wife, faithful to his wife, to God, his community, then I'm all in, because I know one thing about a great wife, you can come to her with some things and she'll say, oh, okay. But if you ain't right,
Yeah, she tell you.
a good wife gonna say, oh no, we can't do that.
Yeah.
We can't take that
That's why
money.
I love her so much,
Yes.
because she'll check me.
Yes.
And, and it won't be a negative type of check, but it's a check that I feel is going to help me.
Yes.
And I think we have to have that balance
Yes, we
in
do.
our household to really make things thrive and to go the way we have. And then you have kids. That's a whole nother dilemma,
Yes.
because the kids can take all your time away from the connection.
Yes.
But we started out early enough and said, well, we know we're going to have these activities, but we're going to still have our own life.
Absolutely.
And so we were young at the time, so we all were growing up together.
Right.
And so it allowed us to now have, I got to talk to my daughter every day.
Mm-hmm.
Every day, you can't miss a day.
Right.
I miss a day, I'm in trouble.
Right.
And then she looked for that daddy to connect and talk and all those things. And that's because we struggled together and we grew up together.
Yes.
And that's what I love about our relationship, is that we didn't start off up here. We built our way up.
Absolutely.
And so it allows us to understand a lot about each other.
And for me, that's the kind of candidate I want to vote for.
Thank you.
I know you can get out here and make all of these promises, but for me, what do those who love you the most say?
Yeah.
Who are closest to you? How do you treat them? And that gives me this next question to be, it really leads to it, because there are many Georgians who are concerned about housing costs, groceries. Lord, help us with gas.
Yes. Ooh.
Insurance premiums.
Come on, you heard me.
Right. What specific legislation would you support to lower costs for working families in these areas?
I would start off first. I want to have an insurance customer bill of rights. If you look at your automobile, house insurance, the insurance company has raised your rates 4 and 5 times in 1 year. There's no checks and balances in that. One of my things out the gate is having an insurance customer bill of rights, where before they raise your rates, they need to have to come before the committee, the regulation committee, and then have to make the pitch for it. Because right now they can just raise your rates willy-nilly. And if you look at your insurance, house, and all that, your rates have went up substantially.
Yes.
But your check is not big
No.
like that. And so that's one of the things I would like to focus on and do right away. That's a pocketbook issue, to just put them on notice. Understand that everybody don't have money like the insurance companies have it. We live day to day.
Yes,
want
we
to have
do.
money in our pocket, but we didn't make our money just to give it away. We want to have good things. We want to take trips. We want to eat out sometime. And so we got to pay all our money out. You box us in, but your stockholders are happy.
That's right.
And so that's one of the first major legislative things I would like to do. The other part is just find out from the people, getting with faith communities, getting with the community, and just have a kitchen cabinet
Yes.
to talk about issues like a focus group issue. Because I tell people, when they talk about affordability, I said, man, you can't talk about affordability, Larry Johnson. I had to go to the corner store with a $5 book of stamps.
Mm-hmm.
You had to break those stamps down in order to buy you some Trin. We couldn't afford Tide.
Mm-hmm.
We used Trin.
I remember.
That's a washing detergent for y'all other folks. Wasn't no cheer in the house.
No.
We had Trin,
Mhm.
and then we had Tussie,
Yes.
the deodorant. Everybody used Tussie. That's
And-
little
and
stuff
you
you put
see,
on your
like-
arm. We didn't have Right
Now,
Guard,
did you
no
have
Secret.
the one where you stick your finger
Yeah,
in?
that's
or
what I'm talking about. You had to do like that.
Like
and then we didn't
7
have
people
Crest.
fingerprints
Oh,
in your tussle.
And then to get to the end, you got to go around that rim.
There you go. And they used to
and-
say at my house, stuff get fussy when we run out of Tussie.
Yeah, so I didn't have Right Guard, all that. Then
Nah.
no Crest or Colgate. We had Pepsodent.
That's right.
We didn't have no name brand toothpaste.
That's right.
So those things taught me how to understand what people. We bought $1 worth of meat,
Yes, we did.
spice ham.
Yes.
And you couldn't get no ham; it was too expensive.
Yes.
We had spice ham, and then you had to break it down. You get 50 cents worth of bologna.
Yes.
Salami, and you had to get white bread.
Yes.
And then you made it. You stretched it when bread was like 35 cents.
Yes.
But you stretched that because you knew how to balance the budget.
That's
you go to
right.
the store and see. I one of them kids. You trust me with the money. You gonna get what you came back with. I wasn't gonna buy no icy,
Right.
no ice cream,
Right.
Because you get in trouble.
Right.
Now some kid may go out there. That whole $5 be over there, doing something else.
Right.
But those type of things, man, I can never forget that. I mean, I grew up in Chicago where the winters were brutal.
Yes. I went to boot camp there.
Ooh,
I'm still mad at them.
oh man, you went up there in Gurney.
I went to
Navy?
Great Mistake or Great Lakes, what we called it.
Gurney, Illinois. You up there by the Great
And I
Great
went
America.
in September to December. Man, I still have ice chips on my back.
Man, my uncle was in the Navy. He would bring them home for the weekend.
Yeah.
We had about 15 Navy people in the house, and they used to cook for them and all of that. But but that's what I remember that because we went 2 winters without electric or gas.
Wow.
So my mother, who was a CNA, and she worked in Skokie, Illinois. Now, Skokie from the south side of Chicago was a 2-hour bus ride.
Mm-hmm.
So she would heat the water on the kerosene heater so she can get me prepared for school. So I wash up and get out of there, and my clothes smell like kerosene. You know how kids do in
Yes.
high school where you smell like this, that, and the
Yes.
other. But I was doing trigonometry at the time, and I was solving for 3 variables. Solving for 3 variables, if you don't know, for one problem takes almost 4 pages. And I'm handwriting them. So I'm by the candlelight trying to solve for variables. So I will never forget those stories. And Chicago winters were brutal, but we made the best of it. You slept, you got in the bed, you went to sleep, you got up, and you just made it happen. So
Well-
that's why it's hard for me to I can't forget that type of stuff.
So you served in local government.
Mhm.
You served on the county level.
Yes.
What, if there are any things that you dreamed of, wanted to do for the people that you knew, I can only do this
Right.
if I get to the state level, at the Senate level?
Man, one of the things I wanted to do was to bring more economic development to the county, to my areas. When I got in, we were coming off 9/11. I got in 2002. So now we had reached a whole nother level of security. And so the world had changed. So I was coming into a world where you now had to look at terrorism and security. And then I had, from 2003, when I got in, 2008, guess what happened in 2008? The Great Recession hit.
Yes.
So from 2008 to 2017, people lost half the value in their home.
Yes.
Businesses was closing. And so I tell people from that time, that was a long time, y'all. 9 years. The county budget at that time, I will never forget, in 2011, our budget had got down to $7 million for the whole county. And we were under siege because we had cities being formed. Brookhaven Dunwoody. Everybody was coming and seized to form their own city. And so we were going through all of that and saying, man, Peachtree Industrial Road used to be part of DeKalb County. And they annexed that into Chamblee. That's about a $250 million hit to our tax base. People don't know when they annexed the cities, they took the best land, the most value.
Yeah, they always do.
They left the county. They were leaving us, and we were caught up in the Great Recession. And so a lot of people said, man, you should have did this and that. I said, I had forces that were not out of my control, and I just had to keep us living. Psychologically, my district was suffering. Mentally, you lose half the value in your home.
Yes.
And you can't leave it. Foreclosures were high. South DeKalb was known as foreclosure capital of the world.
Yes.
They were giving homes away, ninja loans. You can get a house and you didn't have to show your income. You just tell them you're worth that. Then the Great Recession came, the balloon payment hit. And a lot of people lost their houses. And then guess what it did to the businesses? You didn't have nobody that can afford food.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the businesses.
So you didn't have people that can buy. So you had a lot of businesses that had closed. South DeKalb Mall, look at how the mall went.
Yes.
When the Great Recession, how J.C. Penney's left. All these stores were leaving. And not knowing, like you, I know you know you're a guru, that we were moving into the tech age.
Yes.
At the same time, when all those things were happening. So HIV/AIDS was rampant. We were dealing with the AIDS epidemic. We didn't understand it. We knew how to deal with it. Ebola was out there, Hetavirus. And all these things were happening. This was in that Great Recession period.
Right.
And so my job at that time was to be a stabilizing force mentally and to just make sure I got people going right.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things I wish the times were different. I would have made sure we were on I was on a trajectory, man, that was going to take South DeKalb to a whole nother level. But when the Great Recession hit, when the developers left, the money was funny. You know, the big banks.
Yes.
You know what happened?
Yeah.
They were too big to fail, and they saved all them banks.
Yes.
Nobody went to jail.
Yes.
But Jerome and Peaches, if they were doing mortgage fraud, went to jail.
Right.
But the big people that were sitting
That's right.
ties on Wall Street
Right.
didn't go.
No.
That's what I was dealing with. But I stayed. It was easy for me to bail and leave because I was at a high note.
Mm-hmm.
I just passed 4 bonds
Mm-hmm.
where I got the Port of Sanford Performing Arts Center built. I got new parks. We were paving roads. We were doing different things at the county. We were building libraries. But it wasn't enough. And I wish I could have had time in that period to do that. But then, you know, after 2017, times have started bouncing back slowly getting back. And we started building up surpluses. And then Michael Thurman came, and he really was a stabilizing force for us.
Mm-hmm.
But you had to catch up.
Yes.
So that would
That's
be
been
my
the
thing
story
if I had Covington Highway would never be like it is today because the Great Recession stopped a lot of economic development from coming.
Yeah.
But most people think they blame the political leaders, but you don't control economic forces.
That's right. When you said you have to catch up, you know, I think that's a thing that we as a people have dealt with quite a bit. We when good times come, we may be a part of it, but we're catching up.
Yeah.
We're not, you know, it's like when the hard times hit us, we all know the saying, when they catch a cold, we catch the flu. And so that just made me think about that a lot of times we're catching up. And thank you for your integrity and honesty, because you could have easily run from that. And when you talked about the business owners, I've been in finances my whole life. One of the things that I know is that without local businesses in a community,
Oh yeah, small business is the backbone.
it's a wrap. You can talk all the
took a
things.
hit.
That's right.
They took a hit.
So as you go to this next level in the Senate, what are some of the ideas or plans that you have for businesses in your district?
Great question. This budget is a $38 billion budget. Every year, the state has a $16 billion surplus. That means every year they rake in $38 billion. That means your gas tax you pay for employment and all those things, different fees. That money should be coming back to us in our community. So I want to do more how to do businesses with the state government, because right now, and I don't have a good estimate on it, that I think only like 3 to 4% of business is done with African Americans at the state level. That's a shame.
Wow.
Let's say 3 to 4% of $38 billion. And we pay taxes just like everybody else.
Yes.
But we're not getting the ROI, the return on our investment. And I want to open up the window so people can understand how to do businesses, how to do facilities, how to do things widgets that you want to bring to the county, from pens to paper to computers to cars to desktops to chairs, all the things that are available, from catering, things that you can do. I want to just open up that avenue for it. And the other part is housing. The money that comes from the federal government for housing, for affordable housing, has to come through the state. And there's a lot of first-time homebuyer programs through the state of Georgia that we can take advantage of. I sent out something to all the pastors earlier this year that was still part of the American Rescue Plan, that if you were behind in your mortgage, you get up to $50,000 grant to catch up. A lot of people didn't know that money existed.
Wow.
Because they just thought people were just paying rent for apartments. But there was up to $50,000 you can get to help you catch up on your mortgage. And you didn't have to pay it back.
Wow.
And they had money left over. So I was pushing it out to the churches and all that. Get this money before it ends, because in 2026, that's where all of the COVID funds, if you don't use it, goes back to the federal government.
Wow. So when we think about that, I want to pivot a little bit. We all know politics, it's always been, and because you're in politics, I don't want to say it, but it's always been a dirty game. And so I've got a question here from someone who says, with the way politics has turned so dirty, is it time for people like us to get low with them? And because what I think they're asking is, maybe that's why they're having so much success. We keep thinking if we put on our angelic wings, but they're winning by, going low. As the person said, is it time to get low with them? So,
Well, you first got to understand that you are an ambassador to Christ.
wow.
That you in this world, but you're not of it. You don't isolate, you insulate. So what has happened is that the church has advocated their role, and you left it because the government's on his shoulders. And so we got to get back to our original purpose of advocacy. You got to go to the PTA meetings. You don't have to have kids, but you're paying property taxes. 70% of your tax bill is schools. So everybody in here has a baby, from pre-K to high school. Whether you like it or not, your money, you look at your
He
tax
don't mean
bill.
literal, baby. Don't be
Okay.
cutting me tonight
No,
talking about. Now, Larry said,
No, he ain't
Negro,
no
you
baby-
got a baby
baby
somewhere.
daddy. He no baby
No,
daddy.
he don't mean it like that. Okay. She
No,
will roll her eyes.
No, don't do that. She don't want to search all over.
Right.
But I think we got to get back to that advocacy,
Yeah.
being proactive, and that's why this leadership center over here is so important.
Yes.
You are an incubator to launch something. You could have went anywhere in the
Yes.
world, but you landed on Covington Highway,
Yes.
where people have given up and said this ain't gonna be nothing.
Yes.
But you have a chance of bringing revival back
Wow.
on this strip. And it
Wow.
starts.
Come on, y'all, give it up.
Oh, I believe it. You gotta have that seed, that mustard seed faith, and that's what me and Dr. T got. We moved to Greeley, Colorado, with $150 in food stamp and a case of Similac.
Wow.
We didn't have first month's rent
Wow.
when we moved there. It was a total faith walk, and I wasn't even saved.
You heard what
It was-
Pastor
it was-
said.
it was
You
a
don't have to
total-
be saved to have faith.
No,
now.
I know now that it was God.
That's right.
Because I didn't have first month's rent. We moved 1,000 miles away,
Wow.
and I didn't have first month's rent.
Wow.
But we had enough faith to believe that things gonna turn around.
Wow.
We didn't have no car.
Wow.
Those type of things, man, make you know that God was there for you, standing in the gap, because He knew He had something for His son and daughter. But I would say you just got to get back to the basics. We relegated that to people The church got to have, even if you have somebody, pastor, you here, you should have somebody designated to go to the PTA meetings from the congregation. You should have somebody go down periodically, sit at the county commission. You should have somebody go to the school board meeting. They need a new school superintendent. You should be able to sit on those committees and help with the curriculum. They're hiring coaches now. They're paying people to get the kids back in the schools. So those type of little small things, and I'm not just telling you this, I've told other churches this too. But you got to be consistent in that and make it happen. You can't wait for Larry to come back and give you a report.
Right.
Because I'm sitting up there trying to fight for you. I need somebody to be down there standing in the gap, undergirding everything to make it happen. But those basic things will go a long way and give a report. But we got to get back to those things, and then we got to get prepared to run for office. And you got to run for office. You got to make sure, like you're doing, you can't just say I'm running for office. You got to understand what you're running for.
Right.
And how to do it. See, I didn't just run for state senate and not understand what the role and responsibilities is. I didn't just up one day and did it. You gotta have understanding on how things work and make things happen.
There's another question which says, and you kind of touched on it already, but I'll ask it anyway. How important is faith, or the church, I should say, because it says the church, to your campaign and what you're trying to achieve?
I think the church is important, the body of Christ, period. You got to understand that you pay taxes. You part of whatever's going on, and you cannot isolate yourself and leave it to somebody else the chance to do it. And so that's why I don't just shy away from folks. I try to reach everybody to make a difference in our community. So that's why I go to third grade. I talk to the third graders, and I talk to the high schoolers. Third graders came. They said, "Why are you in third grade? They can't vote for you," but they need to understand that their government work. I was talking to a group of people on Sunday. He was like in middle school, elementary school. I said, "Do you know your state senator? Do you know why your cell phone? You can't use a cell phone in elementary school and high school no more. You know who made that law?" I said, "Your state representatives made that law."
Wow.
I said, "You need to be understanding what's going on in your state government."
Wow.
And then I was a county commissioner. I used to really get them because I said, "Do you know who set your curfew?" I said, "The county commissioners." You know how many times I can set how many seconds you get to cross the street. I decide where the sidewalks go. I decide where the sales tax go on your candy and all those things. They say, "Really?" I say, "Yeah. You need to understand my role at the local level because I impact your life each and every day. And I'm the last one on the ballot, but I'm the first one you call. Because the police don't come on time, you ain't gonna call Ghostbusters.
Right.
You're gonna call your county
That's
commissioner
who you gonna
or your
call.
city council. You're not gonna call the governor, you ain't gonna call the president. So you need to understand the role and what happens in making those things happen. So I try to go in from an educational standpoint and let people understand what's going on.
Well, now this is a question from a 20-some-year-old young man.
Gen Z.
Right. And I have to be in the spirit of transparency. Hopefully he knows a little bit about you because the question I don't fully understand, but maybe it's come across me.
Okay.
He says, what lessons from the original Souls to the Poles movement could help us bridge those divides today?
I think first you got to approach it as an intergenerational movement. That's what I've tried to run. The people waiting on that leader to come, that one leader like a Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. That's not going to happen. It's going to be an intergenerational approach to leadership. That means it's going to come from a 10-year-old, 18, 32, 44, 80. Because I tell people, you just don't look for just by age anymore. It's got to be an intergenerational approach. And I think that Souls to the Pole, you take them facets. I love that program. You should have saw when I did it. Man, I had, what was that actress name who came here? Ooh, I forgot her name. She played in Greenleaf. Was the first lady. Lynn Whitfield. I had Lynn Whitfield come, And we started over in Big Lots. And I had Warnock. I told Warnock, I said, don't bring that fancy custom-made bus. Because I was on the back of a pickup truck. I had a pickup truck with one of them speakers, and you had to get up there and speak. I didn't want no podium and all that.
Right.
I wanted to connect. So we rallied in Big Lots, and we marched across the street with Lynn Whitfield. I had all the people. I got a band to come out there because he's from New Orleans. And we marched across the street for Sunday voting. Man, it was powerful. Those type of things you got to keep doing. I had all generations out there. They came out, they were enthused, and we marched, and they understood why we had to vote. You vote because it's going to help your community. Stand on the couch is not going to help you. If you say you're not going to vote, you voted. You voted for the person you didn't like.
Right.
And so no vote is a vote. Point blank, period. And so that's what I would tell him or her who said that. And I tell them to start it now. Wherever you are, don't wait on nobody. Don't wait on no leader, nobody. If you want to do a soul to the pole, a caravan, you all on that social media, get them and go do it. I used to get cars together and just drive down Candler Road. I didn't have time to do all that organizing things. And I was so bold one night. You know how most people do events with social service and have tables. I was on Candler Road, McAfee on the corner. I did a night parade. I got the marshals, the fire department, police, people, and we did a march around Candler Road at night. And then we had a resource fair after that in the church parking lot at night. Because I wanted to get out of just reaching those traditional folks. I wanted to bring everybody in. I wanted to get the pimps, the prostitutes, the drug dealers.
Pimps got to vote.
Yeah, I want everybody. Everybody need resources. But I want everybody to understand.
Huggy Bear got to vote.
Yeah, right. And Velvet Jones.
We voting tonight, baby.
That's right. But those are the type of things I did out of the box and tell that person they can do the same thing. We got to make sure we get out of the box. We can't stay locked in and waiting on somebody else to do it.
Well, so, okay, here's hold on, let me make sure I read it properly. Our kids today, I'm going to assume they're talking about kids that look like us, seem as though they're in a lot of trouble when it comes to education. What are your plans to ensure that our community, the children of our community, don't fall behind? I would like to add a caveat to, especially in technology.
Oh, yeah, I like the technology. I'll answer it in a couple of ways. Parents are still the first teachers.
Yeah.
You'll never lose the parent role in educating your child. First and foremost, the government is not going to take the place of the parent in education. You're going to try it, but it's not going to be the same. So the parents got to step up. That's the first thing. The other part is I got an initiative I want to do called WIN, Workforce Innovation Next Generation, where we start focusing on the trades. Because, see, AI is not going to replace a brick mason, a plumber, electrician. And we got to stop pushing. Everybody not going to go to college.
That's right.
They're not college material. But my WIN program, I would like to get it instituted where we now focus on, because the CAB needs a trade school, period. That includes AI, understanding cryptocurrency, all the things that make a difference in our area. I want to get that type of out-of-the-box thinking and get our school systems to look at that, especially when they were trying to close some of the schools. I was fighting hard. They were trying to close Cedar Grove. And I went to the meeting with the Cedar Grove people. I said, you're not going to close Cedar Grove. Because the model they gave us, Pastor, it was inverted. I said, invert the model. They were starting from the top. I said, the program's on the bottom. I said, no, invert it. Put the programs on the top, because a lot of parents in South DeKalb, kids are going up north. We got the most charter schools in South DeKalb. So don't say that the people not having children. They're opting out of the system because you're not offering them the programs that they need. And I want to do an international baccalaureate program in that part of the county, because I got parents who are not trying to annex into Atlanta because they want to go to the Maynard Jackson School, which is an IB program, the International Baccalaureate Program. We need one on the south side. We got to do it. There's no option, because your kids need to understand how they matriculate through. They got a purpose. Whether they want to go to college or not, You got some programs over here that they can grasp their hand to. But that's where the church come involved and all that, because you don't have to have a kid in the school system to be doing this, because when people want to come to your area, they look at the schools first and foremost. And that's how your property values stay up.
Yes.
And so if you see all liquor stores and lottery and gas stations, and you'll see a lot of Fortune 500 companies, so the mindset can go that way.
Yes.
And so part of being a state senator, I want to be able to provide those funds to make sure that we're pushing young people to careers, and not just them. We got to make sure that the parents are fully successful too.
Yes.
Because if you get all these skills and the kids going back home and there's no connection with the parents, because the parent may need extra skills to get a better job.
Yeah.
So it's got to be holistic. We can't just think child. We got to think the whole family in this process. And what we do is try to do a silo approach. But the world is not like that. Things don't work. Things don't operate just. You can't leave a plant right there without water. It's not going to grow. Somebody got to water it, and they got to grow. They got to nurture it, and that's what has to happen with our children. We got to catch I call it catch a falling star. We catch them early enough, we can relaunch them and be where they need to be.
Absolutely. You know, usually at this time, I do what we call a Tony's moment, but I'm going to switch a little bit. Number one, I want to thank you. I am super honored to have you here with us today to share your vision, your passion, and even your personal story, because I think when all three of those things come together from an authentic place, not contrived, not from some notepad, but from a real,
Get to use my note.
from a real place, then we get to see who is really worth giving our vote to. So can we give it up for
Thank you.
our next senator? The other part of it is I usually do the last word, but I'm going to say a little bit, and I want you to just share with the people what your district is, where it is, how far it runs,
Okay.
and then just ask them for that support in any way you
Okay.
want from them. But
Appreciate that.
before I turn it over to him, I just want to say to you that something he said tonight, Brother Larry said tonight, which is, before we run to the politicians, what are we doing? And I want to advocate on behalf of each individual and the Leadership Center to say tonight that we want to be a part of the solution. We came to DeKalb County because we care about the people. And we want this to be a place that shows that our county, the area our people live in, whatever you want to say, is worth quality. Let me say that again. Quality places to go for training, for learning, for AI experience, whatever it is. And we're here for that. And I want you to know that if you'll join us in helping this community be better, we promise to keep these doors open so that this community is better. So I want to say again, thank you all for the privilege of being in this community, and we're committed to the welfare of this community.
Well, Pastor, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be part of this podcast, and it really helped me because it's been a long day today, and so I needed to recalibrate, and it really helped me to stay back on purpose and point on where I need to be. So I had some introspection being here with you, so I appreciate this, because you never know when you're doing interviews what people going to ask, what they're going to say, and how people going to do these things, but I just like this genuine man-to-man conversation.
Absolutely.
On how we can serve our community better. And I would just leave us with a couple of proverbs that we can use. One is an African proverb, so that we make the path by walking it together. And that path can be affordable housing, food insecurity, crime prevention, helping a single mom find help for their child, daycare. But we have to walk it together. There's no separate walks when we're trying to make our community strong and make things happen. There's another proverb, Chinese proverb, says you give them a fish to eat for a day. You teach them how to fish to eat for a lifetime. But I'm going to add a Larryism to that. But if you don't have access to the stream, you can have all the degrees, you can have all the knowledge you want to, but it's about access. And that's what I'm going to do as your state senator. I want to give you access. I'm not going to give it to you. I'm going to empower you. You got to be qualified. You got to step up to the plate to do it. But I'm going to provide those opportunities for you to be successful because I want to bring the state to you. What does that mean? The S means service with integrity. The T means tax relief. I want to make sure you have money in your pocket and your pocketbook. Tax-free holidays, I want to bring them back. I want to make sure people who own a home get a rebate back like they used to do so you can help make some of your costs be met. The A stands for affordable housing, affordable health care, and of course, college tuition. The other T stands for transportation, not just building our roads, trails, sidewalks, bike routes, making sure that we have all modes of transportation so if people want to choose those routes, they will be able to get them. And I want to be that type of senator to bring that funding to the city and the counties to make that happen. The E stands for education and economic opportunity. Invest in our teachers. Invest in financial literacy coaches. Do you know that the state budget is only paying for 1 year of not financial, we need that part of literacy as well, but literacy coaches? Mississippi is now ahead of Georgia in literacy because they put literacy coaches in the schools and not just teaching sight words. They got back to hooked on phonics. They're teaching what a syllable is. They're making things like automatopoeia, the things we used to have to learn as we matriculated through school. The other part is what Pastor touched on, is economic development. Small business development is what we have to continue to do. Provide those opportunities for business loans, grants if we can, but ways to write up your business plan, like the Leadership Center I know is going to work towards and doing. And then being at the epicenter right here, all of these cars that we see, and there's a lot of opportunities. All these businesses, I guarantee you, they can stop here to make sure, how do I do more of a return on investment? How do I market to the community and make this place better? So I'm at LarryJohnsonForSenate.com, LarryJohnsonForSenate.com. You want to give a donation, you can go to that website and make those things happen. I'm at Instagram, Larry Johnson Official. Become part of us at Commissioner Larry Johnson on Facebook. We'd love to have you connect with us. Early voting is going on right now. It goes till the 12th. You can vote start at 7 a.m. tomorrow, and election day is June 16th. I'm happy to say tonight we just got endorsed by Ambassador Andrew Young.
Woo-hoo!
Has endorsed his campaign. President Carter's grandson, Jason Carter, been endorsed by Congressman Hank Johnson, the great pastor, Reverend Dr. Cynthia Hale, E. Dewey Smith. We got endorsed by just some good people who understand that we need good leadership. This is proven leadership, y'all. What you see is what you get from me. I say this in the suite, I say it to you in the streets. I don't have no reason to hide or duck. If I can't do it, I can't do it. I'm not going to make promises I can't keep. But if you put me down at the State House, guess what? I'm going to bring the state to you. Thank you again for this opportunity.
Absolutely. Come on, give it up for our friend and brother, Larry Johnson. Listen, I just got a few things I want to share with you that on June 20th, right here in the Leadership Center, we will have a brotherhood breakfast, and it truly is a brotherhood breakfast where you nominate a man who has done great things in our community. We're going to feed them. We're going to celebrate them and show that in our own community, there are great things going on in our community. And that coincides with Father's Day weekend. Am I correct? That coincides. So please, we ask that you be a part of that. Nominate a man. We ask men who are viewing this to come be a part of this breakfast. And if we run out of seats, we'll make new grits and new eggs and add more seats. But we want to have this place packed with men celebrating men. And finally, we want you to like, subscribe this podcast because we believe that it is important to our community. And we believe more programs like tonight are what we're going to produce so that we make our county, DeKalb County, and just Atlanta, period, a better place to live, work, and play. So thank you again so much for joining Off Script with Tony Cash. We appreciate you. Make it a great day.
We hope you enjoyed today's segment. Look at the bottom of your screen to connect with the Leadership Center. While you're there, please consider giving. Your support helps us continue real conversations, biblical truth, and real freedom. Thank you for watching.